So do you remember whatever that was, 99, when we started the business? What were you thinking about starting the business?
I don't know. To me, the internet was so new, and I viewed it as the ability to take something brand new and be at the very beginning and forefront of the internet. That was the most exciting part for us to start the company, I think, was that clean sheet of paper. What does the future look like, and be able to have a part in designing it.
We were so early internet. That was unbelievable. I don't think we had any clue what we were totally doing, but
the best part was we didn't take ourselves seriously.
No.
It was about taking the risk and just thinking, who cares what happens?
And you remember, we were also trying to buy actual real cars too. So versus the terrible cars that we had.
What were the biggest challenges back then?
Getting paid. There was no infrastructure. If you think back then, in 99, there was literally no infrastructure. No one even checked if anyone ever ran the actual ads. Everyone signed that like Excel sheet that says, yeah, I ran these ads. Now there's all these third parties that verify everything. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But
you know, people always ask us, what's it like to work with your brother?
What's cool about your brother, I always tell people, is every business has high points, but you definitely have the low points. And you're never worried when you're in it with your brother. That's probably the best. I mean, think about
the inherent trust.
Yeah. Think about back the first time when we never got paid. We thought we were done. We actually knew we were done. We were just worried about mom and dad getting sued.
Although we're so similar in certain areas, we both have our own unique strengths. Without one or the other, we would have lacked vision, we would have lacked execution. Yeah. And in the end, you need both to be successful.
How would you describe our leadership style?
I think our leadership style is authentic. It's who we are as people, and I just try and bring that every single day. I'm family oriented. I have pressures at home with little kids. I know other people have it, so I don't really care what time you show up to work. It's more, can we get the work done, and are you bringing energy? I
think, I think we're success driven, so therefore we want to hold people accountable, but we hold ourselves more accountable than anyone else.
Yeah.
And I think that people who know us and work with us know that. For us, we talk about this all the time. I don't expect other people to care as much as we do.
Yeah.
I expect them to care, but I don't expect them to care as much as we do. The successes really are everyone else's, and the failures are ours, and I think that that's true 100%.
The best way I would sum it up is we bring an incredible vision for where the internet is going. We match that with this really, really big, ambitious personality that we both have of always wanting to be successful from the time we were kids. And then from there, it's that lack of fear of failing. I mean, how many things have we tried that failed, that without that failure, we wouldn't have gotten to the next piece, which was successful.
Nothing ever gets out. We never release something unless that we've been talking about that for 6 months, or 6 months, a year sometimes, where we're creating the strategy and destroying each other over it. And by the time that comes out, that thing is pretty well hardened, and we think it has a really good shot.
I mean, even go back to, I think it was 2004, we're buying ads on finance websites and retail websites, whatever. And just that moment that we had where we said, man, this advertiser works really good on this website. And visitors from this website also go to Yahoo or CNN or whatever it is. And that moment where we said, let's use that cookie and then find these same users from MarketWatch.com or a sports website or a retail website on the news property and and then we bought the domain, behavioraltargeting.com. And that whole concept exploded.
That was like a watershed moment. Holy, this is going to be enormous. We won the internet or whatever. Now, when we talk about it, that seems so small.
Yeah.
But back then it's nuts.
How do you measure success?
You can't. You have to take a longer term view on success. I mean, look where we started to where we are today. Obviously, that looks like
from our parents' house.
It looks
to the
like it's
market.
up and to the right. Nothing ever went wrong. But if you took a snapshot in time, it could have been here, and then it's even higher.
I think one of the most proud moments for me as a CEO or a founder is the alumni we have. The amount of people, we've now had thousands of people who have worked with us that have come, say, some 1 year, some 10 years, some 15 years. But being able to see them go and be successful at other companies and always calling us and telling us that was one of the best jobs I've ever had. But in the end, I mean, our name is Viant. And when we came up with that name, we wanted to be an internet giant, and we wanted to do it the Vanderhook way. And thus the name Viant was created.
The advent of behavioral targeting, how big that was, and it was big, but seems so small now, 15 years later. What's it gonna be in 15 more years? That's exciting.
The metaverse.
What are we gonna do? Could be the metaverse. You're right.
It is the metaverse.
Maybe it is. And but within that, there's a lot still left to be done. So
definitely,
a lot of people know about entrepreneurs and stuff, all the successes, but we've had a ton of failures, tough times. Pretty crazy. What are some of your
incinerated money?
What are some of your biggest life lessons or lessons you think you've learned?
I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is humility. I mean, I started the company, I was 18 years old. I was not humble when I was 18. I didn't have the same life experience that others had. So I think now when I look back, the biggest lesson I learned is how to be successful and have humility. One of the other things I would just add to that, you can win and still lose.
Definitely.
You can have a great year financially, and if you lose your team at the end of the year because you were a disaster as a leader that year, you're starting over from scratch.
I'm actually as proud of the successes we've had as digging out of the holes that we've been in before. The difference between the most successful people, not financially, but the most successful people, period, is that they persevere through all odds. And most people, starting a business, the world is completely against you. The odds of success are as close to zero as you could possibly. But why? It's because it's like this road you go down. It's not paved. It isn't even a road. There's lions on it. There's fires on it. Someone's shooting you. It's the most insane road ever.
That's running a business. Yeah.
And it's meant to keep everyone else out. That's the whole point. And if you can persevere those things, those are the things I'm actually probably the most proud of.
People always ask us, what is the culture of Viant? When I think of that word, I think of innovation, the very first thing that comes to mind. We were early pioneers of digital advertising. We were early pioneers of using the cookie for behavioral targeting. We were early pioneers of contextual targeting. We created demographic prediction systems. Our streaming business, Zumo, that we founded. To me, I think one of the biggest things that we try and bring is innovation. It's the hardest thing in society for people to look in the future and predict what's going to happen with a measure of accuracy, right?
Yeah. When we go out, we want to make a huge difference. I mean, we grew up short people, and we didn't want to be short. So we wanted to be, I might not be 6'4", but I at least want to make an impact like I am. I guess we thought about it like that when I was a kid. But we always do what's right, too. So that's the interesting thing is it's never worth it to cut the corners. So even though we go after something hard, we don't cut the corners. Mm-hmm. And also, Viant's always fun to work at.
Oh, yeah.
Running a company with just the two of us wouldn't be that fun. I mean, I think why it's fun is because of the unbelievable talent. I forget who told us this about building teams, that the key to success when building a team is hire someone who's better than you every single time. And that's the way I think about our employees. If you hire people who are better than you at something,
the job's done.
Oh my gosh, literally think about that. Put the best players on the field that you can. That's your best chance to win. I think we've always done that.
Well, when we think about where do we take the company from here, the biggest theme that enters my mind is the movement away from a Web 2 company into a Web 3 company, starting with the principles that the web shouldn't be owned by one company. The world doesn't want a gatekeeper to information, a gatekeeper to communicate an advertising message to consumers.
Yeah. I don't think in '99 we could have predicted when we started no one knew what it would look like today. All the different iterations of our business, we set out to really build a bigger business that makes a larger impact in an economy, on society. And I think that over the next 20 years, I think we're going to step it up even more.
We have a much bigger platform over the next 2 decades to make that as big a reality as possible and touch as many lives as we can touch. When you think of our corporate values, which ones stick out to you?
Well, it's an interesting time because the one corporate value that got us here has definitely been FIO, or figure it out. That's always been it, because when you're
the life of an entrepreneur,
when you're resource trapped and you have no money and no one's whatever, nothing's going right. You just got to figure it out.
My favorite one is to create, as you know. It's my favorite passion is creating something from nothing, and that's a big corporate value that I try and instill in everyone.
So what do you think about ESG?
I think taking care of the earth is something that everyone can rally around, and it's one of the areas where we personally want to have a larger impact. When you think of the internet, it's one of the largest polluters of the earth because there's so much servers, there's so much computing power being pushed with electricity that's dirty electricity. We've got to make sure that the electricity powering the internet is as clean as possible. So to me, the number one thing that we've got to do is make sure that this earth is here for as long as possible. And for us, that means taking action.
We want to lead. I mean, look, that's why else? You know anybody else who went out, cared about it so much that we built a solar farm in North Carolina? No. So I think that we have a real commitment to it, and I don't think it's just marketing.
I think one of the other big things that we've been talking about is how do you introduce this incredible industry of digital advertising to more groups of people? There's lots of underrepresented groups that don't have the benefit, and one thing we've been really proud of is the Historical Black Colleges internship program, just to introduce students into what this industry is, to give them the opportunity to come in for a summer, understand it. Maybe they move on, but at least they're introduced to it. And I think that's the biggest thing.
Again, that's about the longer term. How do you make a real impact, not just, eyewash, you've improved some statistics, or you launched a program. I think that's one thing we've always done is to, how do you go back to first principles of something, re-architect, wait, how do we really solve this issue?
Yeah.
For the long term, so.